Hey everyone, it has been a bit, it's been a while, and I'm really sorry for that. Like I said, I want to, I don't know if I actually ever said it, but I want to keep posting these journal vids because it's good to look back on what I think about life and the thoughts that have been running throughout my head while living this thing we call life. And I'm not really here to give you answers. I'm just here to give you just thoughts and conclusions that have come for me just self-reflecting on life, right? I don't really have the answers. I just have a way of thinking about things that maybe they could apply to your own life, and maybe it can't. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I really would appreciate it if you could tell me in the comments, because as much as it hurts to be wrong, it's better to be wrong and be told you're wrong than it is to be wrong and no one say anything, or everyone agree with you just because they don't want to piss you off or anything. It's better to feel that a little bit of shame in being wrong than it is, and being able to critically think about the things that you're putting out in the world rather than just people accepting what you're saying as gospel, right? On that note, something I've been thinking about recently is just dating and relationships, right? Like, sometimes I go through life and I think to myself, well, damn, right? I feel like I'm the only person who's lonely. Or if I were to rephrase that, I would say, I think to myself, why do I feel like the only person who's lonely? Why do I feel like I'm the only person who's lonely? Why do I feel like I'm the only person wondering if other people like me or find me attractive? Why do I feel like the only one? I think we spend a lot of time in our heads. And we spend a lot of time thinking about things. We spend a lot of time thinking about things, huh? In our own heads, in our own mind palaces. And a mind palace is such a good word for it because it's really a constructed world just sitting in your brain that is disconnected from the actual real world outside of it. A really interesting philosophy that I read about was the whole idea that reality is fundamentally different than our conceptions of reality. Our understanding of reality that's in our head is just a simulation. What we have in our heads is just an imitation, a pale imitation of reality. It's not the real thing. And I feel like that's related to the way that we think about the world and how we feel inside. I don't know if I'm describing this right, or I don't know if you're following what I'm trying to say, but I feel like that's related to this feeling of loneliness that we have, that we feel like no one else has. We're so in our heads, in our own constructed worlds in our heads. In our own constructed world in our head, we think everyone else has got it figured out. We think everyone else is popular, they have friends, they're never lonely. How could they be? They're successful, they get good grades, they work hard, they get a good salary. Sorry, I burped. They get a good salary. that's not really true, is it? It feels like such an obvious thought, but sometimes we just don't even think it, or at least I know I didn't. For the longest time, I just didn't even think this way. That it's not just me. Everyone is wondering if the people around them find them attractive. Everyone is. Everyone is wondering if the people around them find them attractive. It's just an ever-present thought or an ever-present tug in your head that when you see someone attractive, or you see someone of the other gender, you have that voice in the back of your head. Or rather, I wouldn't call it a voice, I would call it like a tug. Like someone's got a rope and they're just tugging on it lightly. In your head, someone's tugging in the direction of them, trying to look for signs that they find me attractive too, right? Trying to look for something to confirm or to find out if anyone finds me attractive as well. Everyone is thinking about this. And I think with age, you probably get a little bit better at this, you know. The tug doesn't really affect you as much the older you get. When you're a teenager, it's pretty bad. But when you're in your mid-20s, you finally get into a relationship and you kind of move away from this feeling. It's always there, but you get better at dealing with it. And especially as you get older, towards your 30s and 40s, you're not really in your prime anymore, so you don't really even worry about it. I mean, at that point, you've progressed so far in life that your worth really isn't tied. Your worth isn't really tied to your attractiveness anymore, right? Tying into this, like in high school, I think I was always looking for my love's. Fuck. I don't know if anyone else can reply. I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but in high school, it felt like I was always looking for my love story. You know, my high school love story. I was looking at these girls in high school and I was thinking, damn, all right, if I had a love story with this girl, what would it be like? Just imagining the future of what that would look like and what would happen in that, right? It's not healthy, obviously. I don't think it is anymore. I know now it's not healthy, but it's something that I had in my head at the time. I think there's a lot of reasons that sometimes people can have that attitude towards their love lives, and they're not very good reasons. A lot of it has to do with the weird media the kind of love that media pushes us towards, or just the whole culture around dating and relationships. But my point here is that I was looking for a love story, and I was paying extra attention to all these girls that I was talking to, because I was looking for that. I was looking for that Disney love story, right? And it hit me a couple days ago that everyone is like that. Even the girls that I was eyeing, right? I was looking for my love story with them. They were doing the same thing. They were looking for their love story, their high school love story. They were looking for a guy to come up to them and sweep them off their feet and, you know, say something extremely witty and bring them happiness. In the same way that I was kind of looking for the same thing from them, right? I can't say 100% what it's like for girls, but I feel like there's some element of that going on in their heads as well. Everyone is looking for their love story. Everyone is looking around and being conscious, weirdly conscious of the people around them, looking for any signs that maybe they find them attractive, right? Find you attractive, right? In particular, I would say in relation to people who are attractive already. Everyone has this weird passivity, and they're waiting for someone else to come in and change their lives. Because I know I was that way, and I think other people were too. I have no way of confirming, obviously, because other than just talking to people. I have no real way of confirming this or that, because people are really good at... No, that's not the direction I wanted to go. Because I can never fully experience what you experience in your head. I can only experience what I experience in my own head. And that's the best I can do, right? We all have our own... It's almost like we all have our own realities in our own heads, and we can never tap into the other person's reality. We can only talk about it, communicate, and that's the best we can do. I think with girls in particular, there's a bit of a reservation compared to guys. Girls try not to openly show their interest in people, in dudes in particular, because there's a lot of creepy dudes out there, and it's a bit of a defense mechanism against them. It's not really... I think a lot of guys take that personally, and they feel like that's girls dissing them, right? But I think that's taking it too literally. It's just a general defense mechanism. When we learn these things, they just exist in our heads and they guide our behaviors. But there's no real logic towards them, right? I guess my point here is, don't feel offended, right? If a girl doesn't find you attractive, it's not really her fault. If anything, it's the fault of this weird cult. I don't want to say there's a culture of it, but there's like a... There's a weird... I don't want to say... Okay. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a weird theme among a lot of the stories I've heard from girls of just weird dudes doing weird things because they feel like they need to get attention from girls. Right. Or at least that's my personal theory on why they do it. So it's a defense mechanism. It has nothing really to do with you. It's just their own guards being up, right? For girls. Guys, we do have to deal with creepy people, but I don't know if many guys ever really develop that defense mechanism as much as girls do. I don't really want to turn this into like a guys versus girls debate. Overall, I think Or maybe we should. You know what? Screw it. We should. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? What do you think? The experience that guys have of the world is just a tiny bit different than the experience girls have of the world. Especially like the things we're told when we're younger. And guys were told that we have to be strong. We have to not cry. We have to ask the girl out first. And a lot of us are so fucking scared of that because we don't even know what to say, right? And girls, I can't really speak for girls, but this is just what I've heard through the grapevine, right? Girls are taught to be a little more reserved. Try to keep yourself safe. There's a lot of weird people out there. You need to protect yourself, kind of thing, right? So it goes back to what I was saying previously, that we all have our own like mind world, or we all have our own mind imitation of this world that we live in. And it's not always right. It's not always correct. There's always discrepancies between the way we feel the world is and versus the way the world really is. And feel is a good word there, because the more you think about human psychology and like the way we think, it's more based on feelings than it is on logic. It's kind of stupid, but I mean, it's just the way the mind developed. It developed with feelings first, and then logic is just a new invention, really, right? A new invention. Feelings is what we started with. It's what drove our drove us to survival over these millennia of years and years, and now we just all think in and now we developed logic, and logic has gotten us this far, which is awesome, right? It's amazing to even just have the opportunity to contemplate the world and life issues and the universe, right? But it comes with a caveat that we have to deal with these stupid fucking feelings, man. So I think the reality is, why do I feel like I'm the only person who's lonely? It's because you are the only person who's lonely in your own head. But in reality, everyone thinks they're lonely.